Hey guys, this is Hero, still in Atlanta, but one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the full moon that's occurring this week. If you're living in the United States, it's late at night on November 18th, okay? It's actually technically November 19th, early morning, okay? Now, the way you can tell exactly when the full moon occurs is when the sun and the moon are at the exact same degrees, 7 signs apart, okay? Everything up until the moon reaches that point is when the moon is slowly going closer to the full moon, and after that point is when the moon kind of, that full moon effect kind of fades rather quickly, okay? But what's so interesting about this one is that the sun, when this full moon occurs, it's gonna be in about the 2nd degree of Scorpio, okay? So that means at the fullest point of this full moon is going to be at about the 2nd degree of Taurus, okay? So, like I said, if you're living in the United States, it's about November 19th early morning, okay? Which I would actually even more consider November 18th Thursday, just late at night, because most of us are not going to be awake probably when it occurs. But, so the moon is in the 2nd degree of Taurus when this full moon occurs. But what's interesting here is that the moon gets exalted in Taurus, but everything up until the new moon occurs, the moon is in Aries for the most part, okay? That's one thing that's important. The second thing that's important is that Mars right now is in Libra. So what does that mean? It throws a 7th aspect on moon in Aries up until the full moon, and then when the full moon actually occurs, when moon is in Taurus, Mars throws its 8th aspect on there. So that means Mars' aspect on the moon this whole time is also very important. And just another minor side note, when moon gets in Taurus, it is with Rahu, and it does get aspected by Jupiter's 5th aspect, okay? But what does all this mean? So when moon is in Aries, most likely tonight, so in the United States it's the 16th, and tomorrow night the 17th, what you could feel is that, okay, as the moon gets closer and closer to getting into a full moon state, it starts to obtain more and more of that positive energy, right? That full moon positive energy. So what this means here is that anything that Aries represents for moon, you'll feel very proud about, okay? So Aries kind of represents any new things that you might have started, okay? So any new things that you might have started, especially because Mars throws its 7th aspect there also, you'll feel very proud and strong about. This is just a general transit video, okay? How you actually feel, you need to look at your own chart. But just for the general everybody on YouTube kind of thing, I feel very proud about anything you started, right? And then right when moon gets in Taurus exalted, you'll feel very like everything that, like I said, you'll feel proud when moon is in Aries about everything that you started, and then right at that full moon spot when moon is in Taurus, you'll feel very comfortable where you are in life, okay, at that point in time. So I'd recommend at that full moon spot to try to, exactly when the full moon occurs degree-wise, I'd recommend to try to meditate about an hour before that if you can, okay? You'd have to look at exactly when it occurs when you're wherever you live in the world, but I'd encourage you to meditate exactly when an hour before that full moon actually occurs, right? Now, secondly, also one other thing, when moon moves into Taurus, like I said, especially after it moves away from that full moon point, the sun still affects it, obviously, but it is with Rahu, and it does have Mars' 8th aspect as well as Jupiter's 5th aspect. So what does all this mean? So we know Rahu kind of is that illusionary cloud, right? That temptation kind of. Mars' 8th aspect, Mars owes the 8th side of Scorpio, right? So Mars' 8th aspect is very one that's intuitive. Jupiter's 5th aspect also is very one that's intuitive also, okay? It's a karaka for the 5th house. So what does this mean? Jupiter and Mars is fifth and eighth aspects respectively, give the moon some higher level intuition. Okay, and moon is already very strong in its own exaltation sign of Taurus. Mars and Jupiter, they're not the hugest fans of Taurus, but these aspects working together will give Moon a little bit more intuitiveness, especially since Moon is exalted also. Now, Rahu is that illusion. And Rahu does very well in Taurus. So as Moon kind of gets closer to Rahu will kind of try to tempt the Moon, okay? Moon feels very safe and stable in Taurus, but what happens is Rahu will kind of try to tempt Moon into trying to go after certain things. Now, Mars and Jupiter, when they throw their 8th and 5th aspects on the Moon, it will give you more intuition on what's your deeper reasoning about going after or obtaining the things that Rahu kind of wants you to do. Okay? So 2 voices will be there very strong. The Rahu temptation, actually 3 voices will be there very strong. The Moon being exalted in a full moon state, that the fact that Moon feels very safe and stable, that will be there. The second voice is the Rahu voice, the voice of temptation. Okay, saying, hey, you're stable, but you know, we still can have this and this. And then the third voice is that Mars and Jupiter intuition. It's gonna shed some intuition on the Rahu voice and the full moon getting exalted voice, okay? What you do with that intuition voice is up to you, okay? We all have free will, okay? So there's a certain amount of this that you can't just keep relying on the stars and stuff, okay? The stars are kind of just, in astrology, they're kind of just guides, but what we do and stuff is on us, okay? So that exalted moon is there, which is gonna be a very good time for us to kind of discover certain things about ourselves. That Rahu temptation is there, and that Jupiter and Mars intuitive aspects are there, okay? And so now what you do with that intuition, whether you feed into that full moon exalted energies or whether you feed into those Rahu energies, that's on you, okay? Like I said, the whole manifesting and the law of attraction, the way it works is what ends up kind of coming up in your life is the energies you feed, okay? So that intuition is there from Mars and Jupiter, those aspects on Moon, as soon as it gets into Taurus, okay? Which energies you feed in is on you. Whether you want to feed into those Rahu energies and keep going down that path is on you, or whether you want to feed into that exalted full moon, kind of focusing on, you know, the stuff that truly makes your mind stable and safe, and truly focusing on your necessities versus your wants. That's gonna be on you around that full moon time, okay? Especially the day before, or leading up to about like 5-6 hours before, and also more actually after the full moon point, because the full moon happens right at the beginning of Taurus. So it's more that challenge of where to use your intuition will come more actually the day or 2 after the full moon, because that's actually, the moon is moving away from the degrees of being full. So that will be a slight challenge in itself. So that's really where the free will come in on how to use that intuition properly, okay? So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. Like I said, what you do with that intuition, the Mars's 8th aspect and Jupiter's 5th aspect intuition is very, very powerful, okay? So I would encourage you guys to use this properly. And until next time, talk to you guys later. Thank you.